fifth installment in the series of 7 firm reasons why we have not found Atlantis yet is the secrecy of the Atlantis colony for economic gain. The epic story we have passed down to us from Plato describes Atlantis as once having overwhelmingly great wealth. The Atlanteans are said to have covered their walls, temples, and sacred statues with metals from bronze to tin to gold. There was even one valuable metal described as having a fiery appearance to it that is stated to have been lost by the time of Plato. Plato also describes these kings of Atlantis as being wealthier than most cultures he could compare to in his time and could imagine to exist in the future. Within the whole context of the Atlantis account, we could gather that the source of Atlantis' wealth was due to their trade in precious or functional metals. Atlantis was claimed to have once had a trade network that could have spanned from the entire western half of the Mediterranean Sea all the way to the coastline along the Atlantic Ocean. One of the most valued of these metals to other nations during the Bronze Age would have been tin, a functional metal which we are well familiar with today. Tin, along with copper, was required to make bronze, and this bronze would have been absolutely essential to the great empires during the Bronze Age period. Bronze was used for many purposes, including agriculture, warfare, architectural decor, feasting, and for ritual or religious purposes. The key takeaway concerning tin is that it was not at all common during the Bronze Age. Some sources claim that the tin came all the way from the regions we know today as the German Chechnya border to Afghanistan and the neighboring regions of Asia. Outside of this, a seafaring culture could have had proper access to the metals wealth of the far-off Atlantic regions, from the Atlantic coast of Iberia to France and the coast of southwest England at Cornwall. It is this source of Atlantic source wealth that Atlantis almost certainly derived their influence and power, working with local chieftains to extract the metals ore for trade. If we were to compare these metals to the commodities of our modern world, they would have been similar to crude oil or rare earth metals used in our everyday electronic devices. Keeping access to this wealth would have been a top priority for any Bronze Age culture. The means by which this could have been done would have been to conduct trade in such extreme secrecy and to resort to warfare if any competition might happen to develop. It is for this reason that I propose that the Atlantis-Athens War, spoken of directly in Plato's Atlantis account, was fought. The emerging threat of the Mycenaean Greeks with their seafaring capabilities, largely bolstered by the overtaking of the Minoans of Crete, would have been a major threat to Atlantis. If the Mycenaeans could be kept away from the Atlantic coastline, and preferably the entire eastern half of the Mediterranean Sea itself, then Atlantis could continue to thrive into the future as a major power. The empire of Atlantis could not have foreseen a major catastrophe though, and despite their best efforts, their reign of dominance was to eventually come to an abrupt end through natural catastrophes.